The frontier town of Silver Hollow, Colorado Territory, gathered on the first Saturday of every month for what officials politely called the Children's Placement Day. The name sounded gentle, but everyone understood the truth behind it. Children who had lost their parents through illness, accidents, or failed homesteads stood in a line, hoping someone would offer them a new beginning. Most found homes before noon. The smallest children were welcomed first, often by couples longing for a son or daughter. Strong teenage boys followed, claimed by ranchers needing another pair of hands before winter arrived. Only one child remained. Her name was Abigail Turner, a tall 14-year-old girl with chestnut hair tied into two neat braids. Her faded blue dress had clearly become too short after a recent growth spurt, yet she stood with quiet dignity, refusing to let embarrassment bend her shoulders. Her gray eyes calmly watched every family that passed her by. Some whispered she was too old. Others thought she was too tall. No one bothered asking who she truly was. Across the square, Nathan Cole paused on his way to the mercantile. At 39, he had spent nearly 2 decades drifting from one cattle job to another. His entire life fit inside a saddlebag, a bedroll, and the worn saddle resting on his dependable horse. He had no intention of attending the placement day. Yet something about the quiet girl at the end of the line kept him standing there. The county clerk finally approached him. "You looking for someone?" the man asked. Nathan shook his head. "Then why are you still here?" Nathan glanced toward the girl. "What's her story?" "Abigail Turner," the clerk replied. "Father passed away crossing the plains from Nebraska. Mother died years earlier. No relatives have answered our letters." "How old?" 14. Nathan reached into his pocket and counted his remaining coins. He barely had enough money left for the next stretch of his journey. Still, before he could talk himself out of it, he quietly paid the placement fee. The clerk completed the paperwork. Abigail picked up her small cloth bag and walked toward him. "Where are we headed?" she asked in an even voice. "North," Nathan answered. "There's supposed to be work on a ranch outside Elk Ridge." "Supposed to?" "It isn't certain." She studied him for several moments before giving one simple nod. "That's honest enough." The journey took nearly 3 days. Nathan traded some equipment for a sturdy mule so Abigail could ride comfortably beside him. The miles passed beneath endless blue skies. Neither of them talked much at first. Eventually Abigail spoke about her father, Samuel Turner, a hard-working farmer whose crops had failed one season too many. "He never stopped believing tomorrow would be better," she said quietly. Nathan smiled. "Sounds like a stubborn man." He was. "And your mother?" "I remember her laugh more than her face." Nathan understood that kind of memory. When Abigail asked about his own family, he hesitated. Years earlier he had married a schoolteacher named Margaret. Fever had claimed both her and their unborn child during one terrible autumn. Since then he had wandered wherever ranch work could be found. "I figured traveling light hurt less," he admitted. Abigail looked toward the distant mountains. "Sometimes carrying nothing can still feel heavy." Nathan didn't answer. She had already said enough. Fortunately, the ranch near Elk Ridge truly needed workers. Its owner, Benjamin Harper, listened carefully while Nathan explained everything. Benjamin rubbed his beard thoughtfully. "And the girl?" "She's under my care." Benjamin looked toward his wife, Martha, who had been watching from the porch. Martha smiled warmly. "She'll stay in the house," she decided before anyone else could speak. That settled the matter. Autumn became a season of steady work. Nathan repaired fences, gathered cattle, and prepared the ranch for winter. Abigail helped Martha cook, sew, preserve vegetables, and organize nearly every corner of the ranch house. Within weeks everyone noticed she possessed remarkable determination. She never complained. She simply learned. One evening Martha laughed while serving supper. I swear this girl makes better biscuits than I do. Abigail blushed. My father wasn't much of a cook. So you became one? I suppose I did. Nathan noticed something changing inside himself. Without realizing it, he had begun measuring each day by whether Abigail appeared safely at the supper table. Likewise, she always placed his favorite coffee mug beside his plate before he entered the room. Neither of them mentioned these quiet habits. They simply became part of life. Trouble arrived one afternoon in Elk Ridge. A local merchant's son mocked Abigail's height in front of several townspeople. She ignored him and finished buying supplies. Back at the ranch, Nathan heard about the incident. He found Abigail tending the vegetable garden. Does it bother you? He asked. It used to, she admitted. What changed? I realized strangers only notice appearances. She gently brushed dirt from her hands. The people who matter eventually see everything else. Nathan nodded slowly. That answer carried more wisdom than many adults ever discovered. Without telling Abigail, he later visited the merchant. Their conversation remained calm and respectful. Whatever was said stayed between the two men. The merchant's son never bothered Abigail again. Winter approached. Benjamin offered Nathan permanent employment along with a small ranch cottage that had recently become vacant. Nathan spent several evenings thinking. Finally, he spoke to Abigail beside the fireplace. I've been considering something. She looked up from the book she was reading. What is it? I'd like to make this official. She frowned slightly. Official? I can't replace your father. I know. But if you'd accept it, I'd like to become your legal guardian. Silence filled the room. Abigail lowered her eyes for a long moment. Why? Nathan answered honestly. Because somewhere along this journey, we stopped being strangers. He smiled gently. And because family isn't always the one you're born into. A tear quietly slipped down Abigail's cheek. I'd like that very much. The paperwork took only a few weeks. Everyone in Elk Ridge celebrated. Martha baked 2 apple pies. Benjamin declared the occasion deserved an extra day away from ranch chores. Life settled into a comfortable rhythm. Abigail continued growing until she stood taller than nearly everyone in town. Instead of hiding from attention, she learned to stand proudly. She became skilled with horses, helped manage the ranch garden, and developed a reputation for solving problems before anyone else noticed them. Years passed. At 17, she announced one evening, "Someday I'd like to own land of my own." Nathan chuckled. "I've expected that since the day we met." She smiled. "You always seem to know." "I've had good practice." On her 21st birthday, Abigail found Nathan repairing a gate at sunset. "I've been meaning to ask you something," she said. He rested against the fence. "Go ahead." She looked at him with the same thoughtful expression she'd worn years earlier on placement day. "Do you ever regret stopping in Silver Hollow?" Nathan laughed softly. "Not for 1 minute." She smiled. "I thought so." Together they walked back toward the warm lights of home. Nathan realized life rarely changed through grand adventures. Sometimes everything changed because one person chose kindness when it would have been easier to keep walking. The few dollars he had nearly spent on supplies had instead given him something no amount of money could ever purchase. A daughter. A purpose. A place to return to at the end of every long day's work. And as the evening stars appeared above the Colorado hills, Nathan silently thanked God for the unexpected path that had led 2 lonely souls to become a family. If you enjoyed this heartwarming Old West story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more original frontier tales. Your support helps bring many more stories to life. Thank you for watching.